cloud.
You know
Well,
what? Oh, it says, yeah.
It says to the cloud or computer. Either way, we live. So
it's
that's
being
awesome.
recorded by the host or a participant.
Yep. So you just click got it. That's,
Yeah,
I
I
think
see.
that's
Got it.
awesome. So guys, I'm excited that we are able to finally have this conversation. I know last week we had some technical difficulties,
Woo!
but this week we are back better than ever on Zoom. And it's going to be recorded. So anybody who misses it, as soon as it downloads, I'm going to get it out to you guys so you can share it with anybody that you want to share it with. And so tonight we have a special guest speaker that we get the pleasure of hearing from. And she actually happens to be my aunt. So that's very exciting. And so Miss Dawkins, we're going to go by last names, keep it professional. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your brand? And yeah, we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. Why, thank you, Ms. Gibson, for having me on. I do appreciate this opportunity to talk about my brand. My brands are Collin's Angel and Help. Help, H-H-E-L-P, helping hands, empowering and lifting people. And of course, Collin's Angel. Collin's Angel came about based on personal situations. So I noticed that there was a lack of information going out to people like me and people like him, or should I say, I'm sorry, families like myself and patients like him. So because of that, I wanted to empower and broaden and educate people to let them know, hey, this is out there, this can happen, this, you know, here are the things that you can get to bring your loved one home.
I was muted, but I was saying that's awesome. When did you guys actually get started? When did Collin's Angel get started?
It actually started a couple years ago, but it was official last year in April. I made it official. Was, you know, still giving information here and there, but when April came around, I was like, actually it started officially because of COVID. There were so many people in the nursing homes that could have been home. There were so many people, so many families that lost loved ones, didn't get to see them, didn't get to just that last goodbye or that last hug. Little things that we take for granted that means a lot happened during COVID. So that was a wake-up call for me. Let's go ahead and set this up and let it fly.
That's awesome. So you're actually coming up on your 1-year anniversary soon.
Correct, yes.
That's awesome. Well, it's so funny because I actually started my brand during COVID too, right? Because a lot of people were experiencing losses and grief in different ways. A lot of times people think that grief, you know, you just grieve people, right? But you can grieve your lifestyle. You can grieve a relationship, you know, that has ended. You can grieve literally anything that you no longer have access to. And so I actually created my brand, Can I Grieve, during the pandemic as well, last October. And mine, you know, similar to yours, it stemmed from personal experience, personal losses along the way. And I just kind of wanted to put together a brand, you know, and a safe space for people to know not only is it okay to grieve, right? You don't really need permission to grieve. That's the whole, you know, the reason behind the name Can I Grieve, but also just being able to educate, encourage, and inspire people to rise above grief. So that's awesome.
And that was a question I was going to ask you is, you know, did you have any idea that, you know, CIG, Can I Grieve, would be so impactful? How do you handle the emotions that comes with it?
So honestly, you know, when you create something, you never know the magnitude or the power of what it can be. You kind of just have hopes and dreams and plans of what you want it to be. And so for me, like I said, I just wanted to kind of create that safe space for people and really just, you know, empower people and connect people with other people who are experiencing that so that we can, you know, rise above grief together. Excuse me. And then it was a part two to the second part. You said the impact, I think.
Yes, the impact. So, how do you, basically in a nutshell, how do you handle the grief that you have endured?
Good question. Okay. So for me, I would say it was family, it was friends, even people who weren't connected to me super close, but all of that support. And I know everybody doesn't have that, right? Everybody is not super close with their family or have any friends per se. And so for me, that was definitely a major part of it. Also prayer. I was a person who was a little upset at the time, so I didn't really feel like I wanted to talk, to God per se, but I'm thankful that regardless of what I wanted, he always knows what we need, and he provided people, that prayed for me even when I couldn't pray for myself. Outside of that, um, I know there's different ways, that people grieve. Me personally, I didn't go the therapy route just because I felt like I had that support from my friends and family and prayer. I believe all of that was what I needed. But for people who are grieving, I definitely recommend, get in therapy if you need therapy, right? It's nothing wrong with it. But for me, that just wasn't my case. As far as the impact, we're just getting started. So I don't know what's to come, but I do know just in this short period of time, I've been able to connect with quite a few people and bless them, whether it was in the products that I offer or just, an encouragement, sending some encouragement and love. So it's been great so far.
So what basically is your overall mission for CIG in the DMV, the District, Maryland, and Virginia?
So my ultimate goal is really just to create that safe space for people and really just put together different events, right? And with COVID, it's a little tricky. So that's why we're doing a lot of Zooms and lives and stuff like that. But ultimately, I want to get out in the community. I want to put together different events, right? Different events, in my personal experience, I lost my mom to heart disease, right? And so that's something that is a big deal, especially in the Black community, right? With people not eating right or just not knowing the signs of high blood pressure and different things like that. And so that's the event that I want to put together. Alcohol abuse, another personal experience that, someone close to me that I lost. So just putting together different events where we can, again, educate people, empower people, and just ultimately creating that safe space. So I see Can I Grieve bigger than the DMV area. That's just the starting point. So I hope
That's a
that
good
kind
thing.
of answered that question.
Congratulations. Yes.
Yes. What about you? What about your plans for Collins Angel in the DMV?
My plans is to expand, similar to what you're doing. I've done some networking events and, it was pretty good, except what happened is Maryland has a wait list of over 27,000 people right now that needs home care. The problem that we have is that the federal government already disseminated the money down to the states and the counties and the municipalities. The problem is the counties is not informing the community of this information that we have money, we can help you. The other thing is the turnover rate is so high right now with the coordinating center, because the state itself does not do anything. There is a coordinating agency that runs it. They're overwhelmed and they're understaffed and of course underpaid. So that's putting a little impact on Collins Angel right now in what I want to do, because I'm not comfortable selling something that I cannot deliver. And that's what this is. I'm not able to deliver. So then I go over to help, which is helping hands, empowering and lifting people. That one I'm more successful with right now because I can impact a family, whether it's of 2 or of 10. I just recently helped someone that got evicted, and she did get the money from the county to help her, but her boyfriend, or let me change that, allegedly another person took her money. So it was not used. Unfortunately, there were 4 children that was out with her in the rain under the bus shelter. And as I was driving by, I was like, it's pouring rain, the bus is not running. Why is this person in the rain?
Right.
Unfortunately, in this day and age, you have to be careful when you try to help people because you don't
Mhm.
know what their hidden agenda may be. So I circled around, I came back and I pulled up, I said, do you need help? Are you okay? And the 3-year-old says, we're homeless. We got evicted and everything is wet. And I said, so where are you staying? And then mom finally started speaking. So for 2 days, they bounced from the mall to the bus stops. So I was able to reach out to a few people, former co-workers and family friends, and put some funds together and was able to put her in a hotel for a couple of days. And then reached out to some politicians and some people that I know to get them involved. So as of now, which is about 2 weeks, she is in a shelter, one of the motel shelters, and she is quote unquote safe. If she chooses to go backwards, that's on her after everything that's going on, because you're talking about 4 kids. And I think she's pregnant. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
So there seemed to be a problem there. So that's what help is doing in conjunction with Collins Angel, because the two of them are one,
Okay, I
even
was
though they're
just
two
getting ready
different
to
names.
ask you that. So you have Collins Angel, and then you have Help, but
Yes,
it's
so help is
connected.
nonprofit and
Okay.
Collins Angel is for profit,
Okay, got it.
right?
Okay, got it. I love that. That's beautiful, and I love the name.
Thank
Genius.
you.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
we have to empower each other. And one of the problems that we have in this society right now is that we're so busy competing with, a lot of us are so busy competing with each other instead
Mhm.
of helping and lifting. So instead of seeing someone down and just keep stepping on that person or walking that person, lend a helping hand. Even if you yourself can't do it, recommend that person to someone and see what can be done, because there's help out there. There's help out
Definitely.
there. Yeah.
So what services, since now you're talking about one is for profit and one is not for profit, what services do you offer in specific with Collins Angel or Helping
Col-
Hands?
with Collins Angel, it's the logistics on how to apply for the various waiver programs that's out there, the connection to the leverage to get to the coordinating center or on the state level. If there is a problem and legal issues arise, I do a disclaimer, I'm not an attorney, but I
Right.
can show you how to do the process. Like I can show you how to get guardianship, because in this state and most of the country, if you're over 18 and you're hurt and you're unable to give authorization, your family member cannot give it for you,
Mm.
because you must be a legal guardian, either with a living will, a actual will, or a court ordered document. The court ordered document, and that was from my experience with my son, when I was told, the doctors told me, I don't have to talk to you because I challenged them on some issues. And I was told I needed to be a guardian. And there is a process. You have to go to court, you have to show, and the judge itself, him or her, may appoint a stranger to be guardian over your loved one.
Wow.
But that's temporary. And then you have to be assertive enough and challenge it. But here's a kickback. So many family members and friends have become guardian for their loved ones, and they abuse it.
Mm-hmm.
And they've abused it to the point where people have died, people have gotten seriously hurt, and they have to be removed. So there
Yeah.
is a process to get to that point. So I will let you know ahead of time, since your loved one is over 18, this is what you need to do to protect yourself and to protect your loved one. After you've done this, this is what you need to do, and this is how you need to do it, and this is where you need to do it. And when the state tell you, well, we can't help you, the help comes in the form where another part of it is for modifications for your home or your apartment. You may have a loved one, even a friend, that you're willing to let stay with you. However, the room is not wide enough for a wheelchair to come in, or for a hospital bed, or the bathroom needs to be modified. The state has funds, the county has funds, the city has funds that was allocated from the federal government for that purpose. because the average person that stays in a nursing home, the government pays $550,000 a year, because you pay for everything that's used. You pay for the Band-Aid, you pay for urinal, if it's a colostomy bag, you pay for the respirator. I mean, you pay for everything. Everything is itemized. When you walk in and they take that sticker off and they put it on your chart, that sticker is that bill for everything that they're using for you. If that nurse walks in 10 times, that nurse 10 visit into that room is billed to you. The respirator, the respiratory therapist, all of these things are charged. So you can say to the state, well, you know what, give me 8 hours. I go to work, so I need 12 hours. They'll give you 12 hours. And if they give you the 12 hours, then you have to go through an agency again that's overseeing the attendant. That person comes in, and that's where it starts. The ball starts rolling. Some people may say, like with me, I wasn't approved to get an attendant because I made too much money. So what they did was they offered to give me the stuff I needed. However, for me, the quality was not what I want. So it defeated the purpose. But there are people that if you cannot get the help, you can get the products. You can get the material. You can get the help. You can $40,000, $50,000 worth of work can be done on your home to accommodate that patient or that loved one you have at home. So those are some of the guidelines. I said, this is what can happen. This is how it happens. And this is the process.
Okay, so you're pretty much providing resources and tools and stuff for people to start whatever process they may need to start depending on their situation.
Correct, as a consultant. So Collins Angel is a consulting agency. Consulting LLC.
I love it. Okay. That's awesome. And so I know you personally, so I know that you've experienced grief quite a few times in your life, right? In your young years of living.
Yes.
And so how are you managing, or what would you say would be some helpful, tips when people are experiencing grief? And I know it's different for everybody, but how are you managing, and what tips would you give to anyone who is grieving currently?
You can grieve as long as you want and how you want. I've come to the point where I don't let anyone tell me how to grieve. And a lot of people will say to you, oh, it's been a year, it's been 2 years, 5 years. You don't need to. Yes, no, that's not acceptable. However, for me, I'm surrounded by family and friends, and I'm talking long-term friends, 40 years plus. And some of my former coworkers, I've put this glove around me, like it's like an angel, and I'm wrapped in it. So I'm comforted, and there's always somebody that I can talk to. But people that know me know that I'm more of a giver than a receiver. That becomes a problem when you're grieving, because there are people that's offering help. But sometimes that pride kicks in where, no, I don't want anybody to see me cry. I don't want anything from anyone. But sometimes just that 5 minutes, that 10 minutes of conversation can alleviate a lot. I'm fortunate to have one sister still around, and she will do spot checks. She will, if I don't want a text from you, I want to hear your voice. But I also show up at her house unannounced. So it's a two-way street. And fortunately, and then, even with Sabrina will text out or checking on me. I have Gwen. I have a huge extended family that's there for me. I read a lot and I write. And my reading does a lot for me. And it's not always about grief. It's about something happy. And the happiness could be something as simple as reading about the hawk that just beat up the rooster for messing with his hen. You know, stuff like that. Something that would make you smile and let you do that. I lost a brother, I lost a sister, I lost a stepdad, and I lost a daughter. And my brother was in his 20s, late 20s. My sister, your mom, was in her 50s. I just turned 50, actually. Didn't even make it to 51. My daughter was 35. You know, grandpa lived this time. I think the two that hit me the most was my sister and my daughter. My sister, because we had no idea. We just got knocked out of left field. My daughter, we knew or suspect that one day something would happen on the path that she was going. But then when it happened, it was a whole different ball game. For the first time in my life, I dropped down on my knees and just cried. And I think that tears was just a buildup of everything that was going on with her for years and some of the stuff that was going on with Collin. So that's how I handled my grief. Thank you for
Well, I
asking.
love everything. I love everything that she said, definitely, not allowing people to tell you how to grieve, because people will say it's been 5 years. Is it? And it's like, it's a little insensitive, but I don't even think people know sometimes. I don't even think people know what they're saying. But I don't think it really matters how long it's been. It could have just, it could have been 20 years. Any little thing can trigger you and remind you or whatever. So I love that you not allowing people to tell you how to grieve, and then you writing is huge. I love to writing is a great way to express yourself and just release some of those thoughts, or even deal with some of those feelings by just writing it out. That's you like acknowledging. And then I love what you said about getting that wellness check. No, text not going to work. Pick up that phone. So that's just a note to myself. Sometimes we think that, we're giving them, we're
That's
respecting their
harassment.
space. Say it again.
That's harassment.
Right. And sometimes we think that we're giving people their space, but we're still trying to check up on them
Yeah.
and send them a text. But sometimes you do need to call and hear their voice, or really check on them. So that was awesome. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go on.
It's a catch 22. And we're fortunately surrounded. Your godmother Gwen would text me sometime, hey, I'm just checking on you. And it's something that you can get annoyed with, and you shouldn't get annoyed with. You shouldn't be insensitive that someone cares enough to follow up with you. Just respond.
Yeah.
Just respond.
I think that goes back to the ego too, though. How you were saying sometimes when you're always the giver and now you're in a situation where people want to help you, you don't know how, to allow them to help you, or that ego kicks in, like you don't want people, you just want to be, isolated into yourself, when that's not really good at all to be isolated.
It's not. And people that know me know that I don't want to be a recipient, but
yeah,
unfortunately in life, we're dealt cards. So you can either play it, hold it, or fold it for the deck of cards that you get. And I just refuse to fold, and I'm not going to hold it. So let's play. What are you doing? Spades? You doing blackjack? What are you doing?
Oh yeah, I like that. What is it? Play it, hold it.
You can either play it, hold it, or fold it.
Yeah, that's my new one right there.
Right. So I play mine. And with me playing mine, I'm okay. So whether it's the queen or the jack or whatever, but I am a queen. So because I'm a queen, the jack rules below me. That's okay, not beside me. The king rules beside me. So as a queen, you have to do what you have to do for yourself before you can do for others.
So true.
Yeah. So, it's a little It can be overwhelming. It can be.
Okay. So tell us some ways people can support your nonprofit.
My nonprofit, which is HELP, HELP.org, does collect donations. It's not just money. So say, for instance, I'm doing a networking event, and if someone is in the area and I reach out and I can have that support, that would be great. But I may call and says, you know what, just like what I just said about the family, there's a family that needs some help. Maybe we just need some clothing, and maybe we need some books, maybe we need school supplies. So that is a way to support HELP. And in conjunction with supporting HELP, you're also supporting multiple families, because every Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, I normally adopt 3 families from the middle schools and the high school. And I've been doing this for years. And I team up with Giant and Safeway. So Giant would give us gift cards. Before, we used to do the meals, but of course, people with allergies, and this one doesn't need this and there. So we give them a gift card. So Giant would give a $50 or $75 gift card, and we give it to the family. They purchase what they want, which alleviates a lot, because then you're not making sure that this is it. Yeah. So the other part is Giant, Safeway does that. Walmart, Target, and Office Depot normally does the back to school supplies. So we do back to school. Well, I do back to school supplies too. And doing the back to school is a backpack and everything that's needed. We may have 1 or 2 kids that could use some clothing, because they may be wearing something else that's tattered or whatever. So we fill in. So my partner and my girlfriends normally contribute. I reach out and put a SOS. This is what I need. This is how much I need. And the funds come in. I have a coworker, former coworker. He's awesome. And he will drop some money and says, I don't have much. I'm going to go get a car, or I'm looking for this, but here is this towards whatever project you're doing. So there are many hands, which again, we come back to helping hands. There are many hands that's involved. And that's another way of donating. But the financial is always the best, because that you can also use to purchase. So all type of donation is acceptable. And I can also be reached at, so it's help, HELP.org, or collinsangel.com. And I'm listed as BJ Dawkins at collinsangel.com. 240-801-0196 is the number that's assigned to that. So leave me a message, give me a call, send me an email. I'll return your call within 24 hours if I don't have it in, between business hours, which for me is 24/7.
Okay, good info, good info, good info. Let me see what other question I got for you. Okay. Where do you see Collins Angel 5 years from now?
In 5 years from now, we should be in New York, Florida, and Atlanta. And I do have people already reached out to me about helping them in those states. So I see myself going here. I'm very much familiar with New York. So New York is not a problem. Same thing for Florida. I have someone in Florida. I'm not familiar with Florida, but I do have medical friends in Florida that has reached out to me, because I shared a couple of information with them from people that came up to me that have called me to ask for help. And why am I not in Florida? Why am I not in Nevada? Why am I, not in Atlanta? And I said, okay, let me just do one state at a time. And then, we can go on. I said, but I can always use your help. So, that information, of course, is taken. So in 5 years from now or less, I see New York first, then Florida, then Atlanta. will expand as needed. And of course, now that everything is opening up back, we should be able to get in a little more, and hopefully the manpower that's needed at Collin, at the state level, various state level, because I do have the same thing for Virginia. There's 15,000 people on a wait list in Virginia, but Virginia has 25 different type of waiver programs. Maryland has 15 and DC has 2, except of course for the agent, there's a few. So with all of that in place, I see the branches expanding to many, many entities.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Thinking big. I love it. All right, my last question that I got for you. A lot of people wonder, is having a nonprofit challenging? What would you say?
Yes, it's challenging. It's challenging to get it set up. So when you do the registration in your state and you get that state authorization to be a business, and because a nonprofit is still a business, when you get that, and when you get to on the federal level, the one thing I would love to tell people is do your exempt application at the same time you're doing your actual application. And the reason is it takes 18 to 24 months to get that exempt certificate, but you can get your EIN immediately for your nonprofit. And it will say nonprofit, but you're not able to give tax exempt receipts to anyone until you have that information. What I'm trying to find out now from the IRS is, does the, can you backtrack? Can you go back and give a receipt to someone that had given you the money that is documented? Can you go back? Can you go backwards? So I need to, I'm waiting for a response on that. It is challenging because you have to do your basically your bylaws for a nonprofit. You have to actually write the bylaws. And for everyone that's listed as a board member, you have to put your position and break that position down. And you know, what's their estimated time of for their position, duration for their position, whether it's 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, you have to put that down. That has to be done. Then you have to put every legal entity that governs your state must be there. So you might be a nonprofit in Maryland, don't mean that you're an acceptable nonprofit in Florida. You have to be registered with the Secretary of State in that state that you want to practice or collect funds from. So, but if an outside company chooses to donate, as long as they're a legitimate company, that EIN then is applied to yours, but you cannot walk into Las Vegas and says, you know what, we're Collins Angel and this is what we're going to do. And, you know, give me, you know, I'm asking for X amount of dollars. You can't, you need permission from the Secretary of State to go in any state to do anything. And so each state has their own secretary. So those process has to be followed. It is challenging and you have to be ready to do the work. It's a lot of research. Read before you sign anything, before you hit submit. Read. That's my thing. The 3 R's, read.
Yes. And you definitely know what you're talking about, because before I decided to go the LLC route, I was going to go the nonprofit route. And I was like, man, I got to create a board of members. I got to have it listed. I got to do this. I got to research. It was a lot. Yeah. And ultimately I said, nope, that's not my lane. You go right over here. So yes, it's definitely work for sure. And kudos.
I think it is your lane. You just have to be patient and be ready. And yeah.
It's work with a capital W.
It is work. It is work. It's read and work.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a couple questions for you.
Okay, let's do it.
So, what do you think your mom would say if she could talk to you right now about what you're doing?
Good question. I think she would say, keep going. I think she would say, I'm proud of you. Um, I think she would just say, go for it. You can do it. You're doing it. Keep doing it. And yeah, those are the ones that come to me
Yeah,
instantly that I can think of.
that's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah. So do you plan on expanding CIG, your CIG brand, into seminars, literature, stuff like that? Do you plan on doing any of those?
Absolutely. So I have a friend who's in social work, and she actually got me set up with a school that she's at in DC, where I just had my first,
I saw.
speaking engagement on behalf of Can I Grieve last Monday. And so I was very excited about that, because that's, middle schoolers, and what I think they know about grief. And to my surprise, the answers is crazy. I had one child say that one of his friends got shot. And I'm like, you're only 12 or 13. Like, what do you mean? But just to know that how well they were able to put that together, it just let me know that this is something that needs to be talked about. It's literally no age off limits. The kids
Right.
go through it, the adults go through it. I had another girl say she just isolates, like she goes to a room, she doesn't even want, her parents to see her, having these emotions, because she knows they're going through their own thing.
Mhm.
And so I definitely see myself speaking worldwide. I definitely want to get into the school systems, as many high schools, middle schools, elementary schools. Sign me up. I definitely am going to be doing the work, reaching out to, different schools and different counties, trying to get that set up. And I just see Can I Grieve being a worldwide brand. It's like I said, it's bigger than the DMV. I don't even really tag DMV in my post, because it's worldwide, and I just want to get in the community, and pay it forward. So I definitely see myself talking all around the world, for sure.
That's a good thing. I did see the interaction with the children, and it was very positive. It was very
It was
positive.
beautiful.
Great
Yeah.
job. Great job.
Thanks, Auntie. I see the thumbs up.
So the mission of CIG is basically, like you just said, to go worldwide.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
And to
Okay.
empower, encourage, and educate anybody, individuals,
Right.
to rise above grief.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you came up with CIG, what made you choose those words, those 3 words?
To be honest, it's the only thing that came to me. I don't even remember the other names. When I was trying to think of a name, I was just like, what I want to say, right? It's not a question. And when I was sharing it with people, how do you guys feel about the name Can I Grieve? Everybody would say, that's it. That's it. You thinking about what name? Like, I don't even remember the names that I had,
Right.
because that was it from the beginning. I just wasn't sure if that was it. But every single time I talk to somebody and I share with them, hey, this is something that's on my heart. I'm really, the only reason why I didn't get started sooner is because of the name. I just wanted it to be that big, and every single time, like I said, I was able to talk to somebody. That was it. That's what they said. That's the one. And so I don't know. I don't even know. I just had a list of choices, and that was the one that stood out the most. And everybody could relate to it. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Those are basically my questions, because the combination of answers pop in, so that's a good thing. But your Can I Grieve is a very important thing to address. And as we all are still grieving right now, it's very, very, very fresh.
Yeah.
And every day, and it affects, as you just said, multiple ages, because we have newborns that are getting hurt. We have and killed. Recently, there was a shooting in Atlanta where the father the mother and the child was in the car. There was a cross where he was caught in a crossfire. He bent his head down. He brought his head up back too quickly. And a 14-year-old shot him.
Wow.
And he died, So we go back to society. I'm a family member of a gun violence.
Mm-hmm.
I have a son that's 37 years old that is bedbound, that requires 24/7 care, that has a feeding tube, unable to speak, unable to do anything at all for himself, is somewhat aware of what's going on, but there's a delayed response.
Mm-hmm.
And it is difficult. It's difficult for any, it's not just mothers, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's not just mothers that are affected by this, but because we carry them, it hit us a little harder. And there are times when the struggle is real, because if something is wrong with him, I have no way of knowing. I have to guess or assume.
Mm-hmm.
But I've gotten so good at it right now, is like, I can call the doctor and say, this is what's going on. And the doctor will say, well, how do you know? I said, Doc, I'm taking care of him. The doctor will come out, and said, okay, you're right. The same thing with the feeding tube. There are times when the feeding tube comes out. So I don't micromanage the people that take care of him, but I'm very careful because he's not able to correspond to say what's going on, what hurts and what's not. So whomever comes to take care of him have to be somebody compassionate and has empathy, because a lot of people come, first of all, you cannot really pay anybody the right amount. What is the right amount to take care of somebody like Collin? If the feeding tube gets clogged, sometimes I remember leaving from work to come in to unclog the feeding tube. And there are times when the feeding tube has gotten blocked in a way where I have to replace it. So I have new feeding tubes always, just in case, because I will not go to an emergency room. I went to an emergency room once to cath him because he hadn't urinated all day, and the doctor didn't know how to cath him. The nurse didn't know how to do it. They had difficulty. I said, I'll be right back. Went home, I got a tray, did the cathing myself, was able to get a couple of hundred out, and then a few minutes later, get another few hundred out. So it's kind of hard, depending on the nursing home, the hospitals, to help you, when I can basically do it myself. So with the guidance of the one doctor, he showed me how to insert the G tube, and if it's an emergency, because that wound will close up quickly. So I know how to do it. I can do it in my sleep, basically. I don't encourage anyone to do it unless they have medical background. But my medical background came from, as a teenager, taking care of people, not knowing that God was preparing me to take care of my son. So I took care of multiple sclerosis, muscular dystrophy, singular myelin, various forms. I'm talking from young people go up. I don't want to ever hear a Neil Diamond song again. I had one patient that played nothing but Neil Diamond. OMG. I don't want to hear the name or a song from Neil Diamond. I've gotten to the point where I just cringe. And in those days, there was no electric oil lift to lift the patient out of the bed. You had to physically lift the patient and put them in the chair, or where you had to do it. There was a situation where you needed the machines that we have now.
Right, and you didn't have it.
Yeah, we didn't have it. You didn't have the electrical bed. You had a manual bed where you had to crank it.
Oh, and wow. Before my time.
Let me tell you, you had to crank it. You could get a wheelchair. A lot of the families, I guess they didn't know what to expect, like myself. So if you had the money, you could afford a good wheelchair. But if not, you got a regular one that folded up. But then the patient is not supported, patient is falling out and stuff is going on like that. So when it comes around to what needs to be done advanced, because of advances, I'm able to take care of Colin. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to take care of my daughter because that would have been too much for me.
Right.
And I unfortunately I had to love her from a distance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, you know, sharing those experiences with us, that's a part of the reason why I want to get out, you know, in the community and put these events together, you know, because it's something that, you know, it doesn't just happen to you, it happens to all of us, you
Yes.
know, whether it's our relative, our friends, you know, and so just putting these events together so that we can connect with people who have had, you know, similar experiences or the same, or you know, just providing people with resources, and like I said, ultimately that support system, I think, is
Mhm.
what all will, you know, allow us to move through and work through our grief.
Right, right. Agreed, agreed. And I thank you for the, you know, the opportunity, because um, everyone that knows me know I'm very careful about what I say, when I say it, where I say it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought of doing Facebook. I thought of doing Instagram. I mean, my other half, he went ahead and set it up on Instagram and all of that, and set it up on Facebook. But I just did not have, what should I say? It wasn't snapping. It wasn't snapping. It's like now it is, but it wasn't at the time.
Yeah.
So I hesitantly, you know, made comments and so on and so forth. So because I'm a face-to-face person, I'm someone that can go into a meeting and have a conversation. That is my, I would say that's my mojo right there. I can go into a meeting and do that. Social media, I leave that for the young people, but that's something that I have to learn to roll with.
For sure.
Yes.
Especially if you want to go worldwide without literally going to India.
Oh yeah.
Social media will take you to India.
Oh yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
Africa and
Oh, yeah.
everywhere else you may not want to go. So for
So
sure.
said, so done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I'm excited that we got a chance to do this. As soon as the recording becomes available, I'll definitely make sure everybody has it. I'll probably even post it on Facebook as well.
Yeah.
To our lovely guests that were on, do you guys have any feedback or any questions? You can definitely unmute yourself. We definitely appreciate you guys staying on the whole time.
I really enjoyed it. I got a good grasp of what was going on with both of you. I did get a chance to go on with a presentation with Joy once before, Mrs.
Okay.
Dawkins, excuse me, Mrs. Dawkins. And I got a good grasp on what you're doing for CIG, which is great. I thought about the Girl Scouts too, because the Girl Scouts are always looking for presenters to talk to the girls as they're growing through their stages. So this is it definitely hits home, like you said, with the young people and the old people, because everyone now is experiencing something to grieve about, you know, whether mental health, whether it be death, whatever it is. So that would be a good idea for you with the Girl Scouts. If you know anyone, and I may reach out to one of Sasha's old leaders.
Okay, awesome. That was very helpful. I appreciate that and your feedback. I will definitely get on that.
Yeah, I'm so proud of both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sabrina, as always.
Yeah.
One of our major supporters. We do appreciate and we do love you.
For
Thank you. I
sure.
love you too. Yeah.
Miss Dawn,
Ma'am,
Eva, did you have anything that you wanted to say, share?
no, you guys are doing a marvelous job on your own.
Okay. Well, we
Simply
thank you.
marvelous.
Yeah.
We thank you for being on the whole time as well.
Yes,
And this was fun, you know, and it's recorded. So I will definitely, like I said, post it as soon as possible. And I appreciate you guys' time. I appreciate Miss Dawkins, aka Auntie. And you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Be
Thank
safe
you.
and be blessed.
Thank you so much for coming. I do appreciate you guys. And you know what? Let's do this again.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks so much.
All right. Take care.
guys.
Okay.
Okay,
Good night.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.